Hey everybody, it's another Collecting the King show, and this is episode 29, and this one is called The Edge of Reality. And we have our special returning guest, Mr. Johnny B. We're calling it The Edge of Reality because John's way of collecting is insane. So we were trying to find an Elvis song that matched up. And Edge of Reality sounds right. Basically, we want to talk to the first-time collectors out there, those of you who just started collecting Elvis, especially if you're collecting the albums, because that's what you collect, right?
Yes.
You're never into the 45s.
I did for a while, but that was real insanity because, you know, I just upgraded and upgraded and upgraded. And I said, the hell with it. This is
the
nuts.
picture sleeves, right?
Yeah, they're very, I spent too much money trying to get the EPs and 45s, and I got out of it.
Because you can upgrade a picture sleeve, what, 500 times?
Albums are easier in one sense because they have the shrink wrap on them, so you just find albums cleaner than 45s.
EPs are not bad.
Yeah, right? But
did you ever collect EPs?
I had EPs. I had all of them. All the basic standard first press. Yes.
Okay, yeah, you did.
I sold them too.
But you didn't have like the biggies.
Like not the rare. I didn't
SPD
have the
22.
No, I didn't have the compact 33s. I didn't have the SPD 22 and 23. Any of the rare ones. I didn't have the orange EPs. I didn't have.
Okay, so those of you who are going to be collecting albums for the very first time, if you want to start collecting Elvis, start off by collecting the reissues. Okay, because they're cheaper, they're not as expensive as the big dollar original first pressings, and even some of the big dollar reissues, which I've talked about in previous shows as well, or even the tan labels. Those are pretty expensive too. Not that they're not a bad idea to grab; they are reissues, and if you could find one every now and then for a reasonable price, and you have a budget, you might want to get a few tans. Starting with the reissues, it's a good way to get one of every single Elvis album that was released during his lifetime. And beyond, if you want to go further into the compilations that came out after he died in 77. John's got a pretty strange way or crazy way of collecting, and let's go back, say, to the very beginning. I know you bought records when they first came out, right? Your first album was
68 Comeback Special. I didn't have a driver's license yet, so I bought through the mail.
Okay.
I bought from a really nice lady called Mary, I think was her name, in Louisiana, called the Elvis Store or the Elvis Place.
Okay.
And I bought bootlegs and foreign albums because that's what she basically sold. I didn't know that much about the originals. All of that changed when I got the book you mentioned, The Boy Who Dared to Rock. I bought, and Jerry Osborne's, the very first Presleyana.
Price Guide.
Price Guide. I didn't know how complex the Elvis collecting world was. I knew there were originals, but I didn't know there were orange flecks, orange rigids, tans, black dog near top. I didn't know any.
AFL ones.
AFL ones. I didn't know anything about any of that stuff.
Okay, so at that point, you started collecting, like I was mentioning, reissues. It was like black label reissues?
Reissues. Well, some of those were the current records of the time.
Right.
Because it was 75, 76, so they were technically, I thought they were first press because that's what was in the stores. I couldn't get to the regular stores because I couldn't drive yet. I had to ride a bike. So my mom wouldn't let me go that far. So that's why I bought through the mail, basically. And then once I could drive, then I started going to the stores. Then one day it just hit me. I said, after I read those books, I said, I want to have the originals because I'm an Elvis fan. I want to have the 50s, the 60s. That's when it started for me as far as really collecting those two. So then I started going to the stores. Went to Hammer the Jammers. You probably heard of that store. People out there, Maryville, Indiana. And Hegwish Records. There was 2 locations, I think one in Maryville and one in Hammond.
Right.
And I would go to those stores. Hammer always had junk, though. I mean, usually they weren't very nice condition. And it was tough to find.
Well, since we're talking about reissues, Hammer may have had junk, but...
Oh, yeah, great reissues, though.
But he had probably one of the most valuable reissues
that I bought.
That all the collectors are looking for right now. Why don't you tell them about
I went in the back room. He had a back room. At first, he wouldn't let me go back there. Then eventually, he knew me, and he let me go in the back room. And I bought Elvis in Concert, CPL, opened up. It was Black Dog near top. I didn't think anything, because I had the blue. I thought, oh, it's a reissue. Who thought? I didn't know. I had no idea.
Because when you found it, there was no issue about it because nobody really knew.
I don't even think it wasn't even in the price guide.
No, it was not in the price guide.
I discovered maybe the first one, and I kept it until I At some point, when I sold that particular collection, I brought it to you.
I know.
I paid $25,
and
I sold it to you for $50, made a little profit, and then you sold it to a friend of ours for like $75 or $100.
Right.
One of the biggest mistakes I ever made.
And one of the biggest mistakes I ever made either.
Because it goes to show, if you've been collecting as long as we've been, you still make mistakes.
But what was crazy is, I had been collecting longer than you, and probably into more of the, the first pressing, second pressings, all that before you were. And for me, just to look at Elvis in concert with a black label, and just go, oh, there's a reissue. It is kind of unusual. $75. Yeah, you could have it for 75. Now it's valued at. I would not be surprised if it's up to $1,000.
Yeah, I'd say anywhere between 500 and
because
1,000.
I've only seen two.
I think there's only 2 or 3 known at this point.
At 2 or 3 at the most. And think about how many years have gone by.
Yes.
But we did establish that was a record club.
That's
issue too. Because it wasn't in stores.
I guess. I found it in a used record store. So whoever brought it in, where they bought it, who knows?
Right.
I don't know, because it was at Hammer the Jammers Records.
All right. So getting back to collecting reissues, you started out collecting reissues.
Yeah.
Did you actually end up getting like a 1254 all the way up?
All the way. I had all of them. Basically,
were they all black label? Or
most of them were black label,
except for
some of the newer ones like Promised Land. Any something that was new like that. It was the first press.
You started collecting the reissues and stuff. Basically, what, around 75 or 74?
Early 70s, 73, 70. Because I bought Aloha when it came out brand new. No stickers on it like it was in the store. The very first, no Saturn sticker, no quad sticker.
That was 73.
That was 73. Yeah. I bought it in May. I bought it the weekend after Aloha was on television. That Wednesday night it aired, and I bought it that Saturday. I rode to the store on my bike to May Company and bought it. Now, I didn't play these, too. At that time, I was collecting them. I was preserving them. I did not open them.
But when you started, though, like with the NBC special.
Oh, the NBC, I played it, yes. In the early days, I played all my vinyl. Until cassettes and 8-tracks came in. Then I switched over to those because I just found it easier. Because I wanted to keep the records mint and preserved. I just didn't,
Which is, folks, how this turns into insanity. And we'll get to that in a little bit. Okay, so let's move forward. Now, you've collected all the black label reissues or whatever was available at the time. And you had Elvis's complete collection at that point.
Right.
Now, once you had that, at what point did you then decide, well, I'm going to get... Didn't you went and started getting original first pressings?
I didn't know there were stickers on the cover. I didn't know there were bonus photos. I didn't know any of that. I learned all that.
That's the bonus photos got you in a lot of trouble.
Oh yeah,
right?
later, yeah.
That's where when he didn't know what the bonus photos were.
I bought that King Creole. The person I bought it from showed it to me. I was thrilled. I didn't know. I couldn't have told you it was a fake. I had no knowledge.
Right.
Try not to be stupid and naive when you're learning, because there are people that will take advantage.
And I know, and I know this is a repeat of an earlier show, but some of you people haven't watched the earlier shows. But I'll never forget that day that you took that photo to a fan club convention in Chicago, and Al DeVorn was there.
Yeah.
And
I showed it to Al.
You showed. Go ahead, tell him.
Yeah, I showed it to Al. I said, "Hey, Al, I'm so proud. Look what I found. I got this King Creole bonus," and he laughed at me. He just burst. He looked at it. I thought, "Oh boy, why is he laughing?" And then he told me. He said, "That's not real. That's not a real photo." I said, "What?"
Even Al DeVorn knew.
Even Al DeVorn.
The minute he saw it,
he said, I couldn't tell.
Yeah, and you looked at him like, what?
Yeah. A friend of ours, George, knew. He didn't want to say anything. He didn't say anything to me right away, although I think he knew.
I mean, how could he not know? There's just no way he could not know that was real. That wasn't a real King Creole photo.
No.
Okay, so all right, so you went back into getting the first pressings.
Yes.
Now, how far? Now we're talking about roughly 79, 80.
Yeah, early 80s.
Okay, so from that point on, how did you get the whole collection?
I got a lot. I bought as much as I could find.
Okay, but you did get the whole collection.
I got them all. Then I branched out into the reissues again, the alternate reissues. The AFLs, the Orange Flex, the Orange Rigids. At one point, I think my third collection was my best collection. I had everything.
So now, again, folks, we're following the insanity, right? Now, so far, this doesn't sound too insane, right? This sounds like, okay, a guy starting out, he had all the reissues. Then he decided at one point that he was going to get originals. Now, Did you keep the reissues? When you went with the, like, in other words, if you got a 1254 1382 Date with Elvis original,
yes,
did you keep the reissues too?
I kept then at some point I decided to make, so I sold a lot of the originals, but I kept the reissues.
Well, wait. Okay, so wait.
Yeah.
All right, so you started with reissues.
Yes.
You got the originals, which were probably 10 times the amount of money that the reissues were worth, and then you decided, I'm going to just keep the reissues and sell the originals.
Yes, because the originals brought more money. So I sold the originals and kept reissues because they didn't bring as much money. I did it 2 or 3 times. I bought stuff.
All right. So let's see. We're keeping track here. First was reissues with a few originals. Then it was originals, complete original set. Then he sold the complete original set, keeping the reissues. Now, I know about the famous moment in time, which we talked about on an earlier show, which prompted the jars of Vaseline.
I walked out I brought a fake sticker and still left with a fake sticker. Ladies and gentlemen, our sponsor for this show is Vaseline, by the way. Okay? And I mean a big one from Sam's Club that you can buy, like a 40-pound. That's my experience.
You got screwed quite a few times on counterfeit record or covers or stickers.
Stickers, bonus
photos, and this
that.
All right, so now we got up to this point where you got screwed many times, and I remember going to your house, and all of a sudden you're collecting, ready, folks, Samantha Fox, and I remember saying to you, "What are you doing?" I mean, you sold all your Elvis stuff.
I didn't have a lot of Elvis. I still listen to Elvis. I loved Elvis. I had all my CDs. I played Elvis every day, but I just got tired of the Elvis world and the bull crap. Mm-hmm. So I got into, I figured, there can't be bootlegging in Samantha Fox world. So I bought, and I mean, I had probably the premier Samantha Fox collection in the world.
I had
incredible stuff, rare stuff I had on her.
I mean, I only thought she did one song, and what was it? I Want to Have Some Fun.
Want to Have Some Fun.
That was the only hit record.
What was the other
Touch
one?
Me.
Yeah, Touch Me.
All Night Long.
And she had some photos that came with the records and weird, peculiar things, stickers, all kinds of stuff.
And what's interesting about this whole Samantha Fox thing was John actually applied a lot of the collecting techniques for Elvis records to Samantha Fox.
Yeah.
So you would look for Samantha Fox records with stickers, and with bonus photos or posters or whatever,
anything,
right?
Yes. Oh yeah. And I was meticulous about it. Very, clean. It had to be clean. It had to be sealed or. I just had a. I almost sometimes regret selling that collection.
I had to get over the shock of the fact that you sold all your Elvis stuff and went with Samantha Fox. Okay, I was like, you're not going to believe this, but John just sold his entire Elvis collection.
Yeah, well, when you get Vaseline, that'll do it for you, okay?
But here's the thing about it, and I think a lot of people will agree with me, a lot of collectors, is it's the thrill of the hunt.
Oh, yeah.
It's the thrill of going and not knowing if you're going to find something, even though you've been to a place a million times, right, Carol? And walking in and finding a Speedway mono, you just don't know.
No.
And then when you find it, it's like, I was Indiana Jones and I found the idol. The only thing I was missing was a big boulder chasing me when I came out of the record store. You had the biggest known Samantha Fox collection to mankind.
Yeah.
If you could even imagine that, folks. That's like saying I have the greatest Engelbert Humperdinck collection of all time, including promos. Like, who cares, right?
Yeah.
But tell the audience what happened to that collection.
I sold it to Scott at Disc Replay.
That's right.
We were going to Memphis for Elvis Week, and I needed money.
Right.
So I went. We went to Scott's, and Scott said, "I'll buy it all." I was shocked, and he bought it.
You were shocked.
Yeah.
I was shocked.
And he sold it all. And he sold it all eventually. Every
know.
single thing that was in that collection, because it was rare and it was tough to find.
I remember, and Scott watches the show every once in a while too, and I remember talking to him about it, and he said he was really amazed. It took a while to sell it all, but he said he was amazed how he was able to move it. I don't think he has anything left out of that collection, and it was a fairly big collection.
It was 5 or 6 boxes.
Yeah, Samantha
Fox was big. I mean, she was
big.
She was big, but she was big. She was popular.
As our story gets more and more crazy, you gave up Samantha Fox and went back to Elvis. Why?
Because you bought Ryan Pearson's collection.
I bought Ryan Pearson's.
He was a genius in collecting.
Yes,
he had everything.
And you could say hello to Ryan. He watches every show.
Hello, Ryan.
He, I mentioned him before. Ryan, I'm not sure why or how. I'm just grateful that he did. Decided to sell his massive Elvis collection, and I bought it. He came to my house, and you were here.
Yeah.
There was about, in this room, 20 boxes.
Yeah.
It seemed like 20 boxes of Elvis stuff. And you're right. Ryan had like almost one of everything.
He had everything rare. We're talking the ones that were one of a kind. That one for that. Some of those, what was it? The RCA producer, the record that was only one.
It was like a blue package, and it was some kind of a special record that was awarded to an RCA executive.
Yes.
Remember that?
Yeah.
And there was an RCA record.
It was a big book too.
Right. It was like a book and everything.
Yeah.
That was incredible. That's where I found the Valentine Gift for You.
Yeah.
He had that on a black label.
Yeah.
And I explained all that in another show. But yeah, he had all this great stuff. And I remember you just were like a little kid.
Well, it was like Christmas morning again. That just fired me up again. Well, remember, I bought a ton of it. Remember, I bought almost every AFL that he had.
That's right.
I started with that. I bought a lot of the AFLs.
And would you have sold them knowing now what those go for?
No,
can you imagine you had AFLs of just about every? He may
know.
have had, who knows?
Yeah.
So you got rid of Samantha.
I got rid of Samantha.
All right. Went back to Elvis. And this time now you had you had a little bit of everything. You had originals, reissues, rare reissues, variations, catalog number variations, everything. Yep. Okay. All right. So now we got to that. And it continues to get more insane because what happened to that collection?
I sold it. That's my last phase. Next to the last phase. I bought, I said, I'm going to buy only the new vinyl. Only the FTDs and all the 2000, but that's what I'm going to collect. It's easy to get because it's mint, it's sealed, it's clean, and that's what I'm going to collect.
And so so now you have, like every Friday Music.
Every Friday Music.
Which is an American company that redid many of Elvis's catalog, and then all of a sudden stopped.
Yeah. Fortunately, we talked to Ernst. They had a contract.
Right, and they ran out.
It must have run out. It must have expired because I was very disappointed because they stopped. So,
Yeah, it's very similar, folks, to the contract that Mobile Fidelity had for the new From Elvis in Memphis box, which I understand the production has been halted. The show Ed the King's Court, he got a box, opened it up, put the record on the turntable, and the needle was going like this on each record. So he was saying that the records something was wrong. So he contacted the company, sent them back.
Yeah.
They sent him another one, and that one was doing the same thing.
Yeah.
So you got to be careful about that box. But again, that was licensed from RCA.
That's licensed.
And that's how that whole thing works with Friday Music.
Yes.
Friday Music had to have a license. And didn't they advertise at one time they had more coming out?
They did, and then they never came out. They must have their contract must have written, and then so now it looks like Music on Vinyl has their contract because Music on Vinyl is doing. They're doing stuff.
And then of course everybody knows the Follow That Dreams.
I have all the Follow
That
which
Dreams.
Is
My Blue Hawaii tees. Those of you out there, don't you wish you had this? I put that up there purposely. So there's the Follow That Dreams came out, and then Joe Pizzata, who we know from Memphis. We've known him for years. When the vinyl craze started up, he created the Memphis Recording Service, right?
Right.
And I think you have one right here.
I have one here. This is like the kind of stuff I like that he. This is why I collect a lot of this newer stuff. I just like it's color. This one's black. I think he always puts them out on black vinyl and clear vinyl.
Is that the latest one?
No, the latest one I haven't gotten yet. The latest one this was the next to the last.
Okay.
And then where's the other one? Right here. The Black Tornado he put out before this one. Came out.
And you have
I have all of them.
Okay.
I have all
so you have all of those.
Yes.
Then there's certain ones like these here, which is what? The DOL.
Oh, the DOL company.
DOL,
yeah, those are from Europe. Yeah, we got this
That's
one.
the DOLs.
This is a kind of a cool
right?
This is a gatefold, too. It even has a hype sticker.
I believe it's a reproduction of another country's version of Fun in Acapulco, right?
Back here, and then this was the backs a little bit.
And then give me that for a minute. If I'm correct, isn't one of these pictures is the picture they used for
the new no.
Is that it?
No, that's not. No.
That it?
Not on this. Maybe it's on the original.
Yeah.
I think it's on the American.
Well, whatever
version.
the case, we're talking about here. One of the photos that's on here, FTD's next release is Fun in Acapulco. These photos that were on the back, they actually used one of the pictures for the cover of the new Fun in Acapulco.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is DOL,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And they did unique things.
Yeah,
They did kind of cool.
Yeah, it's a funky label from out of.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where.
And then and here's another DOL, and this was kind of cool too because
that was in the same series. That's a gatefold.
Yeah,
too.
this is also a gatefold. And if you look at it, what's cool about it is it's chicas.
Yeah. Spanish for girls.
Yeah. Well, in Spanish, I think chichas. They mean what Samantha Fox is famous for.
Really? Hooters,
whatever. It could be Hooters.
Hooters
Is what it could have been. But yeah. So this is kind of cool. I mean, I got this for my collection because I thought, I like that.
Yeah,
I like
it's a gatefold.
It's a gatefold. It's got the sticker on it. And everything, so yeah, it's
that's why
cool.
That's why I like that's why I like collecting this.
Okay,
stuff.
this is where John and I always get in these discussions because your collection is like incredible in to the degree that he's got like hundreds of albums from overseas. Some of them are legitimate.
The music on vinyl are legitimate.
Right, legitimate.
They're licensed through Sony,
BMG, right, and then
Sony.
Follow That Dream is legit.
Follow That Dream.
All the rest are
the only.
Come on, we can say it.
But
bootlegs.
Well, yeah, they're
bootlegs.
They're basically bootlegs, I guess you can call it. That's.
Come on, folks. Let's be honest.
The DOL and all
bootlegs.
of these. Yeah, they're bootlegs.
They're bootlegs. You're buying bootlegs. With great looking covers. And there's nothing new on the vinyl. Yeah. John doesn't own a turntable. Let me say that again. John does not own a turntable. So therefore, every record he has is sealed.
Sealed and mint and clean.
So that means he could give a crap. He could care less
about the quality.
What's on the record.
No.
If it's a nice looking cover, he buys it.
I don't buy everything because it's just too much. Every week something new is coming out.
And I want to say this on my behalf that I'm not into the stuff that you're into. No. I mean, every once in a while I'll see an album and I'll see a cover. And a good example would be the one right up there, which is Elvis sings other people's songs. Is that music on vinyl? It is music on vinyl.
Yeah, that is music on vinyl. Elvis sing. Yeah, that is.
That is.
Yeah, that's music on vinyl.
I do like covers, I have to admit. If something really jumps out at me and everything, then yeah, I want it. But I go for what's in the record. Now if I knew that some material in an album was new or different or something, then even if the cover wasn't the best cover, I would get it. Because I care more about Elvis's music. I don't really. I mean, there are a gazillion millions of shots of Elvis Presley. I'm sorry, it just doesn't do anything for me. Like even this album here, is this a cool cover? Yeah, but
well, to each his own. Everybody likes to collect differently. I mean,
no. I know. I'm not putting it down. My point is that it's gotten so insane in these kind of releases.
Oh yeah, well
that they got to have a picture that's striking on the cover of the album because the content, it's Follow the Dreams put it out. It's public domain.
Somebody put it out.
This says like opening night January 26th. Has this ever been? Remember Joe Pizzata said he had a concert
he claimed some of these he claims.
But is that really true? Is that really true?
I don't know for sure. I don't know all the bootlegs. It's possible, but there might be one maybe the night before or something. Then from this, I can't say for sure. Don't know for sure if that's ever been released. My guess is it could have been by a boot. It could have been released on a boot before, but maybe not. I don't know. Maybe some of them he does have exclusive. It's hard to say for sure.
I'm just speaking on behalf of the fans out there, the music lovers, the people that love Elvis's music. That literally you're being conned into buying stuff because of a gorgeous picture.
Yeah.
But I am tempted, and every once in a while, I'll if I see a picture that just blows me away, Yeah, okay, I'll get it. That's why the Follow That Dreams are incredible.
Oh, yeah.
With the exception of the latest one, which I'm not thrilled about.
See, I like it. I think it's cool. And, I collect what I like now. I mean, I have fun with it. And my main point to everybody is just have fun with what you're doing. So I'm 64 years old, in another month. I've been doing this since
No, you look so young.
Yeah.
You look so young.
I've been doing this since I was 8 years old. So, it's like, what's that in the...
Well, you don't look
from the Game of Thrones, I've been to the wall, over the wall, and down the other side, with collecting. Vinyl, yeah, you're right. I'm sure that people are disappointed. I haven't played a record in 40 years. But you got to remember something too. I live in a condo. Okay, I have neighbors above me, below me. On this, you cannot play music loud.
Well, you got headphones.
You got headphones. I listen with him. But vinyl's a pain in the ass to listen to. You got to get up every 30 seconds and flip the record over.
But what about the Follow That Dreams though? They're gatefold. If you open them up, they're beautiful. You know what he says, folks? He says, I don't need to open them because Ed opens them on King's Court.
I watch them on YouTube. I see everyone open.
Yeah, but don't you want to hold in your hands?
No, I like them sealed. Hey, this is the edge of insanity.
It's the edge of reality and insanity, right? And so finish the insanity, because now, after all this, he's starting a new chapter of his insanity. And what's that?
I'm buying reissues again. I decided, you know what? Well, you know why? Because I don't have the original. I realized I didn't have the original artwork on all of the albums. You
didn't know that 10 years ago?
No, because some of the foreign ones are different covers. Like the FTDs are a unique cover. So I thought, you know what? I got to get one of every RCA. So now I'm down to 51 on my list. I've already bought about 15. So I'm going to get every RCA album. It doesn't have to be the original. Like the 1254 can be a Black Dog. Most of them will probably be Black Dog near top because that's the cheapest way to go. They don't have to be tans, or some. I want originals. I think I want the box set, the box Worldwide Gold Award 1 and 2 to be the original. And I think some of my favorite albums. I think I want Elvis Country with the card. I think I want that to be an original.
But you had that.
Yeah, I had it 3 times, 3 or 4 times. This is the edge of reality. This is the edge of Johnny B's reality.
Yes.
I guess my message is don't collect the way I did, folks, because you'll end up in the poorhouse. or you'll be the Vaseline king if you collect the way I do.
And when we first talk about, because this is kind of his return show. He hasn't been on the show in a long time. Why do people want to see you? I have no idea.
I don't know.
He's that kind of. I see you. It doesn't impress me none.
I don't know.
I don't get it.
I'm Johnny B though. Elvis introduced me. People don't know this.
Johnny B.
When Elvis says Johnny B on Aloha, people think he was introducing the song. No, I was in the audience.
This is another part of that edge of reality. Okay, you weren't there, Johnny.
Yeah, that's my claim to fame. He calls my name on Aloha from Hawaii, Johnny B.
And of course, those Chicago people who know Jonathan Brandmeier are probably looking at him going, man, Brandmeier's gotten really old. So technically, you've gone full circle 2 or 3 times.
Oh, yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah.
I mean,
but that's the fun. It's collecting. I'm a hunter. I'm not so much I'm a hunter. I like the thrill of finding a nice, clean piece. I talked to Gary Brown, our friend in Tennessee, and he said, you're insane. He says, once I buy it once, I'm done, man. I don't want to have to find it again. And I said, yeah, but, but what's the fun? You know where his records are? They're all sitting in boxes in a room, and he doesn't see them. He can't see them. They're all buried and put away.
Do your Gary Brown again. Yeah.
Well, he's a man. I don't want to have to buy it a second time, a third time. That's insanity.
That's insanity, man.
That's crazy. Yeah. I said, well,
Gary's a good friend. We've known him for many years.
But my records are, at least you can see them. They're not open, but they're on shelves. They're mint. They're clean. They look nice. I open the CDs. I play all the FTDs. I open them and I play them.
That's the new FTD, and that's a CD.
Yeah, this is the CD of the shows. Now, I do have a complaint about this. I hate, which I agree with some of the people online who said, they went through the trouble of making this, which really we don't really need it, as we said, because they did Prince from Another Planet, and even Sony Legacy did the small digipack.
That's right.
But they should have changed this cover, because this is not Madison Square Garden.
Right, and they changed the Aloha from Hawaii one.
When they did Aloha, they put an actual
an Aloha picture on it.
I mean, this is a great picture of Elvis. I love this, but it's what Florida, I think.
You know, I think you're right. I think that would have made it that release more appealing. I mean, I wasn't thrilled about this.
Yeah. Again.
But the thing is, if there was a different photo on it.
There you go. Why didn't he put that on the front?
Folks, again, I rest my case.
You know,
again,
that's
Roger and Ernst, if you're watching, start looking at the back covers you're using, because the back cover should be the front cover.
The front. That should have been the front.
Because I think that back cover
That's Madison Square Garden. This is not. This is Florida or Alabama. I just don't understand why they went through the trouble of making this and then didn't change the cover.
Yeah.
So I haven't listened to it. I just got it. But, it's supposed to be incredible. The sound's supposed to be the best it may be. I don't know.
And speaking of incredible, okay, Follow That Dream does do some pretty incredible stuff, because you collect all the books.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So for those of you who haven't seen it, guess what this is? The
Blue hernia.
Hawaii, yes.
It's a hernia.
It'll give you a hernia.
It's a hernia. This is what it is.
This is the heaviest one. I've got the other ones too, but oh my God, this thing is heavy. Here, you hold it.
Yeah,
That is the new
weighty.
FTD, The Making of Blue Hawaii. Book.
It's got a big book, 4 CDs, and it's got a compact 33.
Yeah,
that's reproduction,
cool.
Which is cool.
When you find the compact 33, it's sealed. I'm going to open it because I want to see that thing.
Doesn't this have 40 cuts of Ito Eats? You're paying $400, folks, for Ito Eats.
All right. No, that was a bad take. Let's do it again. Ito Eats eat our food on our style. It's like, give me a break. I know we don't need it, but they're milking it.
Yeah,
they're milking it. But at least this one's got a killer book.
Yeah.
Got a great book. The little compact 33 thing is awesome.
Yeah, that's
so
cool.
I like that. But then finally on the other new release that's coming is those concerts. Yes. I think I'll get those because they're from the Houston Astrodome in 74.
One's from
One is, right.
They're all 3 Texas.
But 74 was not a bad time for them.
I'm interested to hear what the sound quality is.
I keep telling you over and over again, you need to get that Memphis show. Yeah. Elvis was kicking butt on that show. I don't know. I can't remember what year that was from, and I know some viewer will put it down below. But anyway, that show is incredible.
They do all these live shows. If Roger and if they're watching, which I'm sure they are.
Oh yeah, Roger and Ernst watch us all the time.
May 1st and 2nd of 77 in Chicago. That's the FTD I want. I know there's a bootleg, but that's the shows. I was at May 1st in 77 to see Elvis. Was it May 1st? You can never remember if it was if you were there that night.
Nah, I don't remember if it was May 1st or 2nd.
May 1st
I was definitely
a Sunday
there.
Night. That's the CD I want them to.
Was he wearing?
Because Steve said there is soundboard. Steve
Orlando
Orlando said there is. So I'm hoping that FTD eventually. I know there's a bootleg. I think it's called Double Strike, but it's an audience recording, and I don't want that. I want.
You know what they should do? I'll tell you what they should do. You know how they're doing these 3 CD sets?
Yeah.
Why don't they do a 3 CD that Elvis in Chicago?
Oh, yeah.
72, 76, and 77.
Yeah.
I would scoop that up so fast because I was at all 3 shows.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and I think that's what the success of those are. The reason they're successful is because people who went to the shows said, "Oh, I was at that show," and that's why it sold. When we were preparing for the show, I thought, we're going to go and talk about your collecting, and I realized you kind of went full cycle because you have all the, the reissues you collected, and now you're back collecting the reissues. It's the thrill of finding stuff and collecting the stuff. And even though you went to Samantha Fox, you still applied all the same principles you did with Elvis, collecting Elvis to her.
Yes.
So it doesn't have to be Elvis Presley. I mean, as a collector, there are certain standards that are set, and I think a lot of Elvis collectors who collect the albums, we set the standards. Because I know, even when I go out and I buy records, just general records of stuff I like Paul Simon or Cat Stevens or some of the other artists I like, if there's a sticker in the shrink wrap on the cover, I want it. Even if I have the album at home without the sticker. Carol collects Paul McCartney, right? I mean, if it's a sticker, we'll dump the other one and get the one with the sticker. So it's almost kind of weird because collecting Elvis kind of set the standards for collecting records in general. Because I notice more and more people now are collecting albums with the hype stickers on the front that hype the song or the album contents or whatever.
Well, it's because of you and your shows like you. And then the last Presleyana we did, that's we put all that in there.
Yeah.
Remember, we took pictures of all the bonus photos and all the stickers so people would know what's out there.
So Elvis collectors, we are the trendsetters when it comes to collecting records. So that about wraps everything up. Okay, I'd like to thank my guest, Johnny B., for being here.
Well, thanks for having me.
And you're not going to stay away so long, are you?
No, I'll come back.
I mean, it's almost like a year has gone by.
Absence makes the heart grow fonder, though. Remember that.
Is that going to increase your fan base too? You think?
You know, when you leave the stage, always leave them wanting more. That's what they said. That's the old saying in Hollywood. You know.
Yeah.
Leave them wanting more.
Okay, well, that's all in your head. Yeah. So anyway, folks, thanks again for watching the show. And all I can say is my name is Robert Alaniz. This is the Collecting King Show. This is Johnny B., and we are out of here. So don't forget to send me your inquiries and want lists to collectingtheking@gmail.com for pricing, shipping, and payment details. We have over 1,000 Elvis 45 CDs and LPs in stock, as well as RCA promotional items, sheet music, authentic Las Vegas and tour souvenirs, and more. We don't have a list or catalog available, which is why we encourage you to send inquiries and want lists. If we don't have something you're looking for, we might be able to find it for you. So don't forget to contact us at collectingtheking@gmail.com.